If you're looking at going to nursing school and are confused about the difference between an accredited program and an approved program, we're going to break that down in this video. Hi, my name is Katie Kleber, and I am a nurse educator and here to help nursing programs make sense. We're going to walk through a specific state's list of accredited approved programs and kind of decode some of the language. The first thing that we're going to do is find the state board of nursing that you will be going to school under. So if you're going to go to school in Iowa, Illinois, Utah, whatever, Google blank state board of nursing. So for this, we're doing Georgia just as an example. So Georgia State Board of Nursing, we're looking for a .gov situation to find the real Georgia Board of Nursing website. So I'm going to click on this and I'm looking for education. I'm looking for what their approved programs are. Okay. So here's the menu. I've already, spoiler alert, looked at all this and know that it's not there because I wanted to go exactly where we need to go. I know it is here, education. So we're looking for formal education or education approved program, that kind of thing. So we're going to scroll down here. Out of state programs. No, I'm going to school in Georgia. Resources for more. No, Georgia approved programs. Okay, so this has broken up into RN and PN. So practical nurse, LPN. For the purposes of this video, we're doing the RN situation. I'm going to click on the RN approved schools. And I encourage you to go through the State Board of Nursing website because if you Google it, you might not get the latest one. All right, so let's make sense of this entire situation here. All right, first we're going to start with what state approval means. So when a program is approved by the State Board of Nursing, it means the state has reviewed it and said, hey, you meet minimum requirements to be able to educate nurses and prepare them to pass the NCLEX. It is essential. You will not be able to sit for your NCLEX if you do not graduate from an approved program. Okay. So on this list, you can see that the Georgia Board of Nursing approval status. So this, you can see it says full. We have some that say conditional, some that say initial. So let me break that down. Full. Full is what you want to see. This program has met all standards, has a solid track record, and is in good standing with the board. You'll see most on the list say full. All right. We also have initial. This makes sense. It's a new program. They can admit students, but has not graduated a class yet. So there are no pass rates yet to evaluate. Next is conditional. Okay. So conditional is a warning status. It means the program has had issues like maybe low NCLEX pass rates, maybe some non-compliance aspects with regulations, and is being very closely monitored. And then finally, we have the developmental designation, and that means the program's still being built, but it has not started accepting students yet. So ideally, we want full approval. If the program has conditional or developmental status, we want to be cautious and we want to ask more questions before we enroll in that kind of a program. And now we're going to talk about accreditation, which is different but extremely important. Approval comes from the State Board of Nursing. Accreditation is a national quality check done by a third-party organization. So you're going to see on here accrediting body. So you see approval and accrediting, different things. So we have the ACEN here and the CCNE. So the ACEN stands for the Accreditation Commission for Education in Nursing. They accredit LPN, ADN, and some BSN programs. And then we also have the CCNE, which is the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. They're going to provide accreditation for BSN and graduate level. Now, not all state boards of nursing will list this information directly, like on their report. So you can also go to these websites specifically and then put in the school to see what their accreditation status is. And you can see here that one of these schools is accredited by CNEA. You don't see that one quite as often. That's the Commission for Nursing Education Accreditation, which was an agency established by the National League for Nursing, the NLN. So you may see that one too, but it's not nearly, as you can see on this list, as common as the other two accrediting bodies. So recommend you become familiar with them. So, what's the difference really between an approved program and an accredited program? So, an approval is bare minimum. Like you have to have an approved program to sit for the NCLEX or you won't be able to. You can go give them your transcripts, but if they look it up and say, "Hey, this program's not approved," they're not going to give you your ATT, your authorization to test. So the program must be approved. Accreditation is this like level up that is technically not required, but it basically is. If you ever want to transfer, if you ever want to like go to another school eventually, like maybe you're doing your RN, ADN program, you want to get a BSN, you want to eventually get an MSN, to apply for those programs, they require often, and decent programs say, hey, you need to have graduated from an accredited school. This accreditation status says, hey, not only do they meet this bare minimum standard set by the state, they also meet X, Y, and Z standards that produce quality nursing education. So let me give you an analogy here. State approval is kind of like having a driver's license. Do you need it to drive? Absolutely. Do some people drive without a driver's license, even though they're not supposed to? Yes, they do. And that's kind of like there are scam schools out there. There are schools out there that will accept people and their money and their time and whatnot, and they're not approved. So that's you have to look up to make sure that you're not going to some scam school. All right. Um, but people do drive without their driver's license, okay? But realistically, you must have a driver's license to drive. Now, accreditation, that's more like having insurance. Technically, you can drive without insurance in some states, but if you ever get into an accident, want to buy a new car, have to show proof of responsibility, or anything like that, you're going to run into major problems. If you get pulled over, even if you did nothing wrong, they're going to ask you for your proof of insurance. It's the same thing of a nursing program that is accredited. If it does not have that accreditation status, while you can graduate and get a license, if you ever want to transfer schools, apply for grad school, work at certain hospitals, you're going to wish you had it. So it's not required by law, but in real life, it kind of is. So if there's some job, some dream job or whatever that you're interested in, go look at the admission or application requirements. All of them are going to say graduated from an accredited school. All right, let's go back to our Board of Nursing from Georgia, their example. So I want you to see that we've got schools that are accredited. I'm going to define these for you. Accredited or continuing the accreditation, that means the program has passed the reviews and has met their high national standards. Great. This is what we want. The initial accreditation, like here at this school down here, Bruton Parker College, which is a bachelor's. So that means the program was recently granted this accreditation status and they're in its early cycle. Because these schools, when they get accredited, it's not forever. They have to make sure, these accrediting bodies make sure that these programs maintain their high quality. So that has to naturally be reassessed. Okay. So that's what a cycle is. Then we have down here, we have candidates. So this Cambridge College of Healthcare and Technology with this associate's degree, they're in their initial board of nursing approval status. That makes sense. And they're a candidate for accreditation, meaning we're in the process, we're working on getting approved, has not earned it yet. Looks like later in 2025, they're getting a little site visit. So that maybe if you check this again next year, maybe they will be on here with a full approval. Who knows? Now let's scroll down. Let me find, okay, we've got, oh, wait, right here, Augusta Technical College, accredited with conditions. Okay. So what that means is they're accredited, but there are some specific issues that they must address to maintain this accreditation. And then finally, there's one that says accreditation with warning. So let me I think I saw one of those. Okay. Here we go. Here's this Gordon State College. So, continuing accreditation with warning. So you can see they have a full approval from the State Board of Nursing, but their accreditation says they've got a warning. That means it's a bit more serious. They're still accredited, but major concerns were identified during their last review. And it looks like in March of last year that they had a site visit, and they will get another visit in 2026. So these are not updated. These PDFs are not updated like as soon as something changes with a specific school. So you would need to go to this school's website, and I would check the ACEN website to see what their accreditation status is if I was interested in going to any school that had the warning status. When I look through here, that's literally the only school that has a warning listed. So it's not really common for that to happen, okay? All right, last thing I really want you to pay attention to is the last review next site visit situation. Um, the safest programs to really choose are the ones that have the full approval status, the full accreditation status, and their next site visit isn't until after you would possibly graduate. Um, this means the program is stable, it's performing well, and while you're there, it's not under review. Quick reality check. Programs can lose their accreditation status. If that happens, they might not be able to admit new students. And in some cases, current students might not be eligible to graduate or take the NCLEX. So that's a big deal. So if you're a program, you want to start next year, and their next site visit will look like, here's one that's coming up in 2026, right? It looks like about every 5 years or something. Some of these had their site visits last year. If it's going to happen during your time and we're concerned, oh my goodness, could this happen? If you're new to that program, new to that area, you're not going to know what happened with the last one and if there are any concerns. So something that's really important and smart is, if you are considering that school, when you are like looking into it and talking to people there and talking to maybe the dean, talking to the professors, or admission advisor, my questions: when's your next site visit? I can see on the website, but I want to see if they know. How confident are you about keeping your approval and accreditation? Have there been any concerns raised in recent reviews that had to be addressed and remedied, and what was done? What steps do you guys take to prepare for your next site visit? What happens to the current students if your status changes? So I actually know of a couple schools where this happened, where they lost accreditation status, and it was a little crazy for those students who all of a sudden couldn't sit for the NCLEX. So to wrap it up, I really want you only to consider programs that are both approved by your state board of nursing and also accredited by a national accrediting body. If you are considering nursing school, I have a nice little workbook to help you put down all of your schools you're considering, how to compare them, and so that you can make an informed decision that's not based on, ooh, I like this school a lot, but it's based on like, this is an affordable price. It provides good quality education. It's going to prepare me to take the NCLEX, and it will set me up for success in the future. I also, once you get that, I will send you helpful emails to help make sense of various nursing programs, even some financial planning stuff. So I will put a link to that in the description of this episode. I also have a great little homepage of all these different resources related to nursing degrees. So I will put that down there too to help make sense of different programs. If you have questions, please drop them. I answer these, so I'll take a look and see if there's any way that I can help navigate the crazy world of nursing programs. Thanks, nurses. Stay fresh.